How do you define success? To me, it used to mean achievements, prosperity, independence, starting my own company and growing it, international deals, awards, becoming sought after in my industry, racing through life in this 24-hour generation. Until one day, everything changed. I was constantly worried about what's next, frantic about my finances. The fear overwhelmed me. My world clouded up. Then I remembered my mother's favorite saying, "When everything is uncertain, everything that is important becomes clear." And so it did. What is more important to me now is to always find time to do what I love. Taking time to notice the beauty around me. Focusing on my family and those I love. Preparing for a future I can enjoy. Taking care of myself became a priority, including becoming financially savvy and confident about my future. And through all of this, I found a partner I can rely on. Competent, experienced, independent. They got to know me and kept my intentions and my life in mind. Moving fast, anticipating, preparing. Every day, no matter what. With ATRAM Wealth, I have no regrets in having experts take over the decision-making for my investments. Through our conversations, they showed me the big picture. I found myself now enjoying a professionally managed portfolio with access to a wide range of global and local investment strategies. I am now more confident about my future. My journey moving forward is no longer alone, but shared, as life should be. This is my new definition of success.
Many can provide advice on how to manage your investments. With ATRAM Wealth, we go beyond advisory. Start a conversation with us today.
Hello and welcome. I am Janina Coronel, Wealth Solutions Associate, and it is my pleasure to be your host for this week's episode of ATRAM webinar series. A lot of people do investments on their own, but not everyone knows how, and not everyone has the time to do so. And that's where expert advice and guidance becomes beneficial, even more so for those who have accumulated a significant amount of wealth. Who do we turn to? Who are the experts that people can go to for help? How do they work? And how are decisions made? Today, we are joined by two experts in their respective fields to help explain to everyone how they can help you. If you have questions, you may send them as early as now by clicking on the Q&A button below your screen. Before we begin, I'd like to let you know that this session will be recorded and that copies will be disseminated within the day as well as posted on all our social media platforms. Also, please don't forget to visit our website, wealth.atram.com.ph, to know more about ATRAM Wealth. And if you have any friends who you think would like this webinar but are unable to attend, feel free also to visit our Wealth website for the replay of this session. We would also like to invite you to join ATRAM's official Viber community group, #ATRAMPH community, to stay updated on the latest announcements, advisories, and reminders. Scan the QR code or visit the link on your screen and get a chance to win an ATRAM merchandise. We would like this webinar to be as interactive as possible. So please do not hesitate to send your questions in the Q&A tab all throughout the webinar. Each question you send is a raffle entry for a chance to win an Atrium merchandise. Winners will be announced at the end of this webinar, so make sure to stay until the end. We will also be wrapping up with a quick feedback survey after the webinar. So we do hope you can share your thoughts with us about our session today and how we can further improve our webinar series. Okay, with those out of the way, let me briefly introduce our moderator this morning, none other than the head of Atram Wealth, Marcy Kachet-Chua. Let me hand the floor over to you, Marcy.
Hi, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Atram Wealth in our regular weekly webinars. I am Marcy Kochachua. I am the head of Atram Wealth, and today's topic is quite close to my heart. And it is really about finding out how expert advisory as well as portfolio management can really improve the way you approach investing. And this pandemic has certainly brought this to a highlight because many of the investors out there, and especially those who have a considerable amount of wealth, has started asking the question, should I be doing this alone? And really, not everyone would know how to approach things, especially because of the changes that this pandemic has brought forward. And also that a lot of opportunities had come up from this pandemic. And those information and those opportunities will only be made available for people who are focused in this particular area. So this morning, this is going to be our topic, and we will be joined by experts who will let us know what it is that financial advisors and wealth advisors really do and how they work hand in hand with portfolio managers. I'd like to introduce to you at this point our two guests and from whom we will learn a lot this morning. First off, we have the head of Atram's multi-asset investment strategy, Sandra Aralio. And also joining us is strategic financial advisor handling risk, health, and wealth, Arlene Tan.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Good morning,
everyone.
Marcy. Good morning, Arlene.
Good morning.
Maybe we can start off this morning by an introduction of each of you. And you can let our audience know what exactly you do and what you take care of in your parts of the wealth investment world. Go ahead, Sandra.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, I'm Sandra Araulio. I am as Marcy mentioned, the head for the multi-asset strategies business. And what does that mean? I'm part of the investments team in Atram. And we're a team of portfolio managers, analysts, dealers, and we come together and look at what's going on in the world and the markets and what the investment opportunities are basically. And then we take these ideas and these strategies and we implement them to the portfolios that we manage. We were coming from managing a lot of institutional portfolios, so think retirement funds, pension funds, corporate accounts that have a goal, an investment outcome that they need for this portfolio. And we thought that whatever we're doing for these big institutions, nothing's keeping us from doing it to individual portfolios as well. So whatever we do with these big scale portfolios, we do the same. We implement our market views and investment views to the wealth accounts that Marcy's team brings in for us to manage.
That's very good, Sandra. I think the whole point there is that, when corporates are working with us, when there is a retirement or pension fund that's working with us, it's really about knowing the goal and setting the goal. And I guess that's a nice segue for me to introduce also Arlene. So, Arlene, let us know what you take care of as an expert advisor, as a wealth advisor, and partnering with Atram and really focusing on the goals that individuals should be identifying very, very clearly. Go ahead, Arlene.
Thank you, Marcy. Hi, I am Arlene, Senior Risk and Strategic Wealth Management Advisor. So I've been in this field for 18 years already. So what I really do is design and customize financial plans so that clients can prepare financially before they reach a certain life stage. So let's say people who want to retire should have their retirement funds prepared really, really ahead of time. So it also means that I look into their buffers, no, so that when they have emergencies like this pandemic, they have cash. And it's an important thing also that we help them grow their money. But basically, what I do is ask their goals, no, customize plans, and make sure that the plans are executed well. That's why it's important that I have a team like what Sandra mentioned, a portfolio management team, so that the growth of money will be really implemented. And when they reach a certain milestone, that the target fund is achieved. And lastly, I serve like a Waze or a GPS. I provide data visually, speak to them when they are nervous and excited about their life, health, and wealth plans. So I'm there as their friend in a way because whenever they have dreams or they have problems, I need to be able to address them in terms of in relation with their financial plans and goals.
Wow, pretty wide ranged, Arlene. I guess I want to dwell a little bit, and I'd like to ask this from you, Arlene, as well. No, what kind of clients specifically do you usually serve, and what are the needs of those particular clients that you can help them with?
Um, in terms of clients, since I've been in the profession for almost like for 18 years already, so I have worked with businessmen and basically family businesses and professionals. I've also worked with organizations whose focus is only on growth of money. But the individuals that I have worked with, it's like a big spectrum wherein they would want me to help them in their health, life, and wealth plans. No, so they are the people who have belief in outsourcing this type of uh, activity, and we have been partners already. So if we are partners, then
Yeah.
we are open to each other, no, they are very um, they are very honest, no, with what they want, what they prefer, and what they don't like. So the people that I work with are those who would want to seek professional help and partners to manage their wealth so that they could focus on doing their thing. They are good in doing business, so they focus in that and let this investment planning, risk management planning, they pass that to me. And the people that also I work with, they want somebody to manage their funds in a way that they have exposures globally, and they want to have the service that is similar to Singapore private banking or US private banking, and that is the service that Atram is offering. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Arlene. And I'll be coming back to you. But I guess the question now in my mind, and I will direct this to Sandra, is how did you as a portfolio manager, Sans, and your whole team really deal with this pandemic? What were the things that had actually been quite different from the previous years, no, before this has happened? And in your management, your reaction to the pandemic and your response, how has that been, from your point of view, been beneficial for the clients of Atram and generally for clients who have considered to do the kind of discretionary portfolio management that Atram provides?
Thanks for that question, Marcy. So, actually, Atram was born out of the global financial crisis. And I joined Atram at that time, no, 2008. Professionally, I started right at the smack of the global financial crisis. I had no idea what was going on. I was coming from the academe, so very untainted, no? And I didn't have any preconceived notions of what was normal or not normal. To me, it was like that's what
That's yeah.
is normal. It happens. So in that sense, and as we grew the business and built our strategies and put in the processes, the investment process in place, risk management figured heavily into that exercise. Whereas prior to the global financial crisis, there was no there was not a lot of focus on risk management, and that's why things kind of unraveled the way it did. No, there
Yes.
were extraordinary risk taking at the time. And actually, I mentioned I came from the academe and I wanted to get into uh, finance, and I didn't have any accounting, management, etc. The usual economics. I didn't have that background. I had the science background. So because the global financial crisis was raging on, uh, all of a sudden everybody's scrambling to get a risk manager. So that's how
Hmm.
I started. I started as a risk manager, and I would say this pandemic or last year's uh beginning of a big dislocation because of market dislocation because of the pandemic. It the I would say it tested the
It
10 years
tested.
that we built this process. It was an
Yes.
acid test for are the processes put in place, do they work? And I
Yes.
mean, honestly, they do. I'm you it's all theoretical until something happens, and I'm
That's right.
pleased to have experienced last year's difficulties. We performed quite well in our portfolio, our investment portfolios, and it's not I would be the last to say that it's because we knew exactly what to do. No,
Yeah.
up to now, up to today, we have our views, but who knows, diba? But
Yeah.
it's the processes that made sure that okay, we're just taking the right amount of risk versus our convictions. We are
That's
not too
right.
concentrated. We are
Mhm.
optimally diversified. We have checks and balance in how we execute. We do it like we don't do it in one go. For example, if we're moving
Yeah.
10%, these just practices that over the years we were doing. It
Yeah.
last year just proved that there's something there. It's really the
Yes.
process
Yes.
is effective.
That's so good, no? I mean, there's really a connection between what an expert wealth advisor like Arlene would really, how they would be thinking and how that connects with how you are thinking. No, I'm picking up here that common line on risk management, and I'll ask the same question to you, Arlene. In the midst of that pandemic, what were the moves that you had to make, and how did you find Atram and actually chose to become a partner in that context?
Okay. During the pandemic, what I did first was reach out to my clients and assured them that I am available to any questions or to any review of their portfolio, no, especially life insurance and also their investments. Life insurance that time plus health insurance were the primary focus of clients. No, surprisingly that because before the focus was really on growth of money. Whenever we
That's
have
right.
conversations, it's always like, what's the market outlook. So this time it was different. So it was totally in the risk management aspect of their financial plan. On one hand, because this pandemic is really different, no, the liquidity levels of clients were hammered down in terms of the cash flow that they receive in businesses and even, let's say, medical situations in their home. So I need to be there to make sure that when that they are okay financially, the liquidity, if they need it, we can fix them. Okay, there are sources of liquidity from their investments and from their policies. No, and there is a third set of people also who who are still into investments, and I really appreciate the team and setup of ATRAM, where there is a team of portfolio managers, investment teams, researchers, and I'm the one interfacing with the clients. No, because with that, the capability of an advisor is increased. No, we know that the pandemic had made the financial world a complex one. Rules
Yes,
before don't apply
that's
anymore
right.
right now. So
Yes,
it's like you need a 24/7 team interpreting uh, the data, the numbers, and the policies of government. So that helped me um, reallocate some of the investments of clients to take advantage of opportunities. No, in every crisis, there's always opportunities. So it's, as I mentioned a while ago, execution is the most important thing after planning. No? Because the benefits will be experienced by the clients, and after that, they see and feel that I as their financial advisor was really there for them. So I appreciate Atram's help in that area.
yeah, and that value, no, the value of being proactive, being making yourself available. That's really what is called for in situations that can cause panic and cause worries. And it's great, Arlene, that you had really stood by your clients and also actually tried to look for even new solutions for them. And you're right. The market has become complex. There are assets which had not been usually in traditional line of sight for investors, particularly Filipino investors. There are now what you call alternatives that have come into play, and definitely global assets had become quite important in the portfolios of our clients today. And on that point, I guess it would be good to give our audience an indication of how do they make the right choice. No, when they now look for the right wealth advisor that could help them, the portfolio managers that could help them. What should be the considerations that they should have? And I'll start with you, Arlene. I guess segueing from what you had already shared with us, what would be your advice to the audience of making the right choice?
Okay. I've always believed that an advisor, strategic financial advisor, should have one, capability, second, integrity, and third, care. Let me expound on this. Capabilities. A financial advisor should have the mind and muscles, no, to help you move from one point to another and make sure you are prepared before you reach that life stage of yours. Okay. Capabilities is not only studying and studying, but also having the machinery, a team,
Yes,
I should say,
yes,
to help
yes,
implement those plans. So
that's
working
right.
with strong companies, working with bright individuals and dedicated individuals. This makes the capabilities of a financial advisor really helpful for the client. Second is integrity. Integrity means honesty. She will put your interest above her interest. So that
That's
one,
right.
it's very, very critical. And last is care. She needs to have the ability to listen, empathize, so that whatever goals that you have and whatever dreams that you have are aligned with the plans and investment types that she will recommend to you. So CCI, capabilities, care, and integrity.
Wonderful. And I guess I'd like to also ask the same question from Sandra. What should people consider when they're looking for the right portfolio managers?
Just the same as when you're looking for any service provider. They're competent, they're trustworthy, they have a track record. They are, in our profession, in finance and in investment management, we're regulated. Atram is regulated by entities, the central bank and the SEC. So, there is a very stringent auditing and review of these regulators every couple of years. and we have a score. We get a score. We are allowed to operate the way we do, or we get approved for applications like having an independent trust license, for example, because
Yeah,
of the standard that we are able to demonstrate to these regulators. So it also, as a consumer, I would look at that, no, what's behind the curtains, or whatever service provider I'm looking for. Even with my bank, right? I mean, with a bank, you do banking. Um, it's there's a PDIC insurance, no, but up
that's
to a
right.
certain limit lang. You can, a lot of people tend to gloss over due diligence, but if you're being very if you're exercising enough due diligence, you kind of have to understand all of these things.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think both of you are so aligned in almost everything that you had shared with our audience today. And clearly, when there is already a lot more at stake while investing with amounts that are, we're talking about here 5 million pesos and up, working alone would not, without the sufficient time to be able to manage your own portfolio, would not really be prudent. No. And, I think it's best that investors out there with that kind of situation should consider working with expert financial advisors like Arlene Tan and with Sandra Aralio and the wealth team in Atram. So, you have a whole machinery, as Arlene has said, a whole team who have their eyes on the ball, who have the capability, who have the tools to be watching the markets and the investments at all times, making the right decisions, having the right risk management structure in place, and all focused towards the goal that you have. And with that all combined, that powerhouse is exactly what's going to bring you to a proper retirement future.
All right. Looks like we are ready to do our question and answer. And I'm quite excited because there are some questions already in our chat. And I'd like to prioritize answering them. So let me ask one question from Elena. She said, and I'll address this to you, Arlene. I hope you don't mind. Her question is, for a retiree and a senior citizen, what is the investment plan suited for this category?
Yeah. Good morning. For the financial plan of senior or retiree, I would look into three major needs. No, one would be the liquidity needs. Second would be the medical. Third would be the retirement needs for a very you know um, a life that you want to enjoy. No,
Yeah,
finance that part also.
that's
So
right.
these
Yeah.
things should be the main concern. So I would design a plan wherein you can have resources, financial resources for medical needs. As we know that at this period of time, there are some unexpected medical conditions that can ruin, no? Not really ruin, but disrupt your financial uh, structure, your own financial structure plus your family's financial structure. So we want to make sure that the impact is really at a minimal level. Second would be the liquidity. There are some emergencies that we cannot really prevent, no, and liquidity is important, no. This would include, let's say, if let's say there are some obligations, even if you are retired or a senior citizen, there are obligations to be paid to the government. Let's say you want to pay for the taxes because you sold a property, right? You
That's
want to
right. That's
transfer
right.
assets to the next generation. Uh, that is considered emergency for other people because they didn't think about the tax implications of passing wealth to the next generation. Third
Yeah.
would be the lifestyle that you want. I know that as a retiree, you want a very relaxed life. And that means that there should be continuous income to support your lifestyle. If you are the person who loves to travel, there should be a fund for traveling. And if you want to be with your friends, let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day, then we need to have a way to finance that kind of lifestyle. So those three things would be part of the financial plan that I can design for you.
Very well said. And I guess, once that's designed, then all of the tools and solutions and, like what Atram can provide as a support and as a resource, for Arlene will come into play. So that really all works out together. Thank you so much, Arlene. I'd like to ask now a question directed to Sandra. Jay asked, so Jay from the audience asked, is it harder to manage your own wealth portfolio, or actually more difficult to manage the wealth of other people? And was it harder to manage clients' wealth during this pandemic? Sandra?
It's personally, it's harder to manage one's own portfolio. I have to admit, because there I'm still human, and there is behavioral constraints and emotions that can come when it's managing your own portfolio. So what I do is I copy exactly what I do for my managed accounts in terms of what funds I am invested in, and it's
Yeah.
not a personal decision because it's we have a whole investment team behind it. No, I have my analysts, portfolio managers. We brainstorm and we come up with a strategy together, and I just tend to follow it. I don't do my own I don't do something different for my own portfolio. And I guess it makes sense because you put all of these resources in, and your idea is to achieve investment outcomes for your clients. So how different is that from managing my own? The next question, is it harder to manage in this pandemic?
Yeah.
I would say it's like, I guess it's like me, if I can use an analogy, maybe uh sailing through a storm, no? So you
Yes.
can you
Yes.
can sail through. I mean, sailing is a skill that requires a lot of experience, knowledge. You have to learn how to read the wind. You have to know how to operate a boat, a sailboat. Now put that. I mean, it's not easy to begin with. You have to learn how to do it. There's a way, there's a practice to do it, and you typically need a team, a crew. And if it's smooth seas and strong winds, no, the tendency can be that, oh, marunong na ako, I anybody can do it. But really, not quite. And then if you put in pa a storm, it's very challenging. So
Yeah.
even the crew itself, the captain, they kind of are still reading the situation as it happens. So it can be tricky. And that's exactly where we find ourselves today in this through this pandemic. It's unprecedented. We've never lived through a pandemic in the past, but it has the hallmarks of other or of past crises that have we have learned lessons from, so we can apply a little bit of that knowledge and experience. It's 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 manageable, but it's not easy.
Yeah, thank you so much, and so honest. Thank you, Sans. And I guess I will add a little bit, no, for Jay and also for our audience. I think aside from sailing through the storm, it was important to have the access to a wider range of products, no, because if that wasn't even there, then you pretty much don't have a solution to put on the table for the clients. And that's the depth of the range of the products, the access primarily for to global equities and even to assets like alternatives had proven so well and so useful in the decisions that has been made by Sandra and her team. No? So Jay, I hope that we were able to answer your question. I'd like to pose a question as well to both of you, no, Sandra and Arlene. I know that both of you have had many years of experience in your respective fields. And but aside from the years of experience, no actual hands-on experience, what were the necessary education and regulatory certifications that both of you have to earn and go through in order to be effective at your job and to not just be effective, but excellent at your job and to deliver on the results that's expected by the clients from each of you? So let me start with Sandra, if you don't mind.
Okay, so I did all of the regulatory requirements. So I did the SEC parang certified equity salesperson. I did the treasury certified treasury professional of the central bank, etc. I did trust school of the Trust Institute of the Philippines. No, but aside from all of those requirements, I would say what really helped me or really helped boost my competence and capabilities, I signed up for the Chartered Financial Analyst program, and it's very rigorous, and it's a global certification of investment professionals. There are three exams to it. So at the very least, you have to
Wow.
spend 3 years to study for it. What I like about it is, I was also considering an MBA at one point, but parang with an MBA, you have to stop working. So, this one is self-study and then you just take an exam at the end. The passing rate for any level is like less than 50%. So by the time you finish it, you're like
Wow.
at the top 10 of those who started. But more than that, para siyang talagang it's very rigorous. It's a very you get the technical theoretical education, tapos you're also able to apply it in practice. So it's a good complement. And I would say na a lot of the initiatives that we had put forth, or I was involved in Atram, were all, okay, I see global best practices are this standard, and how do we apply it in our local setting. So that's a very helpful certification that I have. And actually, not just myself, more and more it's like becoming this unspoken requirement for my team. You have to be taking the CFA, not just for the competency, but it's also very character building. You just keep at it until you make it.
That's right. And wow, CFA, what can I say? Talagang mahirap yung three exams na yan, di ba? And how about you, Arlene? How have you also kind of really prepared yourself, educated yourself, and gone through certifications that had made you not just effective but excellent in doing your wealth advisory? Arlene?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So in terms of license, the Philippines require insurance practitioners to be licensed. No, so I have license in that is issued by the Insurance Commission. Second, I also have the certification for investment solicitors. This is for the mutual fund. Um, for me, because of my intention to be a holistic financial advisor, I also took real estate examination. So I am a licensed real estate professional. The purpose for this is for me to be able to advise clients also on the taxes involved in the selling and buying of properties, which is a very common asset for Filipinos. The most important membership, just like what Sandra shared. For her, it's being CFA. For me, it's being part and member of this $1 Million Roundtable organization, which is an international organization of financial advisors. It is already composed of 90,000 members. So I've been with MDRT for 15 years already,
Wow.
and it's not only production that it's, when I say production, they require a certain uh, amount of productivity from the advisor before they let you in. So 15 years I've been consistently part of this organization. I have access to conventions, to mentors, and also to study groups. I feel that financial advisory is a growing profession, and the needs of clients are changing every now and then. That's why we need to adapt to the client's needs so that we can be client centric. Because of this strong belief on clients and making clients as the center of everything, no, I could say that people skill is very important apart from technical skills that we bring to the clients. What are the people skills? Ability to ask questions, ability to listen, and ability to integrate all the information that they give and make sense for the clients to understand what value I am putting or giving to them. So it has been a very good journey for me, both from the academic training. I have also two masters as of the moment, MBA from Lasal and masters in entrepreneurship from AIM. All because I want to make sure that when I talk to the clients, I can relate to them. I can understand what their pain points are. So that's all.
Wow, talaga naman. Iba ang lineup of education and readiness. Thank you, Arlene, for sharing that with our audience. I will do a follow-up question to you because it's so interesting. Somebody had asked us, how do you know if your financial advisor is trustworthy? Arlene, how will they know that you are trustworthy? How do they define that? How do they identify that?
Okay. Trustworthy. I think the past this time it's the past performance that is important, and that would tell a lot about the future performance of a financial advisor. I feel that if the financial advisor exhibits strength and she can take positions and she can really tell what is good and what is not good honestly, then is trustworthy. Why? If you are talking to a salesperson, you would know that that salesperson would only highlight benefits. But if you are talking to a financial advisor who is trustworthy, even if let's say she is affiliated to a certain company, she can say that this point kasi this part of the product hindi niya strength yan eh. Ang strength niya ito eh. So she can give you a big picture that is not really focused on pushing the service or pushing the sale. I think mararamdaman niyo yun eh, pag sincere yung advisor. Trustworthy kasi it's a function of time. The more you deal with the person, the more you could feel na trustworthy siya. And it's also good that we have the social media, right? You can check on the post, the type of post, the type of activities that matter for that financial advisor. If let's say she's into charities or she's into let's say like helping people, I think that one is mararamdaman nyo na that financial advisor instinctively has that helping capacity.
Very well said. Talagang kailangan objective, no? Because kung isa lang ang product na pinag-uusapan nyo, that's already a sign, no? That's a red flag. But if that person is focused on really what you need and the range of alternatives that you have and very objectively will tell you about it, that's already quite a good sign and a great starting point for creating that trust, no, between yourself as the client and the advisor. Great question. Okay, there's a few questions already about what are the usual requirements of Atrium Wealth to get started. I will answer that question. We start off our relationship at 5 million pesos. So really this service that we're putting forward to you guys really talks about, it's a considerable amount that you have built already and you want to continue growing it, or you want to prepare for retirement, or you are in fact facing retirement already and you want to make sure that there will be capital preservation, but also still some opportunity for growth that you will be able to enjoy. And really working with professionals will help you a lot in identifying that. So we start off at 5 million pesos. No? So if you're interested, it's always good to let us know. And the way to let us know is by visiting the wealth page in our atram.com.ph website. Okay. So we're going to look forward to folks coming in and sending us messages to that website. If you want to get patched up with Arlene Tan as well, she has a partner inside Atram, a wealth manager inside Atram, and together they're able to actually take care of clients. So a starting point to discuss with Arlene would be very good. So if you want to reach her, let us know and we'll patch you up with her. Okay. There are also there are other questions here. Okay. Okay, so I think I'll send this message to Sandra. It's a little bit not in our exact topic today, but I think it'll be useful for the audience. Asking for advice lang, syempre from our head of multi-assets, which is the better performing now? Is it the bond funds, or is it the equity funds? And are we looking at an investment horizon of 2 to 3 years, or is it longer? So, San, would you like to give some insight around this?
Yeah, actually, that's very much up my alley, Marcy. Thank you to our
Yeah.
audience who asked that question. Because as a multi-asset manager, basically the starting point is to look at what's happening, decide whether to allocate. You allocate between equities and fixed income. Is it going to be local or global? So to answer your question directly, actually year to date, this 2020, both Philippine stocks and Philippine bonds, if that's what you're holding in your portfolio, you're down. No, they're both negative for the year so far. What do we think by year end? Actually, we actually think that Philippine equities have a better proposition to move higher in the balance of the year. With fixed income, we're a little hard pressed because Philippine fixed income performed really well last year. So with fixed income, kasi when rates are moving lower, the price of the bond moves higher. So that's what we saw last year, no? Because of the pandemic, there's a lot of easing by the central bank. So we have no inflation last year. So there's a lot of movement of yields lower, which pushed the price of bonds higher. So if you're holding a bond portfolio, you would have made gains. You would have seen gains last year. This year, because we're expecting inflation, or we've seen inflation come in higher, and there's a reopening theme, no, we haven't quite managed to get a lot of momentum on that because we saw another lockdown in the first half of the year. But we think that is just pushing back the recovery, and as a result, corporates or earnings growth, economic growth, is going to be a little bit more back ended. So from a forward-looking standpoint, equities are looking a lot more attractive than fixed income locally, locally. But meanwhile, globally, equities have run up. They've continued to gain from last year to this year. We're seeing a little bit of rotation from US being the leader. Now we're seeing some catch up in other developed countries. So we use these investment outlets via funds to get our global exposure for our clients who have that in their mandate. So really, we're pro risk because of the view that we are coming out of. I mean, the pandemic can't last forever, and secondly, the uncertainties that we saw last year have reduced. There's a little bit more certainty with the vaccination, the what we know about the disease, etc., etc. And so, and we also know that there's a lot of spending by governments to overcome or to bridge the gap from to the post-pandemic world, and there's a lot of pent-up demand that's opening up. So all of these things are kind of conspiring to put us in a better standing as far as risk assets are concerned, and that includes equities, Marcy.
Ganda ng answer. Nako, I'm sure that would be very, very useful, no, to our audience, and especially the one who had asked that question. Thank you so much. I think that is the last question that we can take in today. For the rest that has not been answered, don't worry. We will actually respond to you. If you have given us your email addresses, we will come back to you for sure. And maybe just to wrap this up at this point, and before we announce the winners of our raffle, I'd like to have one last word from each of you. So maybe Sandra, you can start it off, and then we'll go to Arlene.
One last word. Okay. When should you start investing? The answer is yesterday. It's something that shouldn't be put off, especially even if, especially when you're young, whether you're young, you're middle aged, you're retiring. It's always, it's never too late because there are different approaches that can be taken, and your financial advisor will be there to help you in that journey. And us as portfolio managers will be there to help you with the how. How do we achieve these goals? And uh, at Atram, our vision really is for every Filipino to be invested in their dreams and their aspirations. And gone are the days that you hold on to your fortune and you put it under your pillow or you put it in a bank. I mean, it's the same thing, it's not working for you. So as an investment partner, we are here to help you or make your money work for you, whatever your objective is, whether it's retirement, income,
Wonderful.
etc.
Well said. Thank you so much, Sandra. And Arlene, last few words and something to think about, for our audience.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. Okay, so
Ganda.
oftentimes we focus on the outcome, right? So kung gusto nyo outcome lang, you need a partner. If you don't want to really think about it, you need a partner who you can trust so that your plan is not just a wish. You need somebody who can implement your plans, design your plans, and evaluate your plans. So, ano yan eh, it's a journey. It's a journey where we talk, we design, we implement, and we monitor, no? And because of this whole process, no, hindi tayo pwede mag-shortcut. Process kasi siya. So, I would say that let's start our conversation so that your plan is not only a wish.
Ganda naman, no? Very, very good insights to think about. And I guess my last word for this audience, you have been wonderful. Thank you so much for all the questions that you had brought in. We are going to continue these conversations with you. The wealth business of Atram will have regular sessions in the webinars, and we hope to keep educating you. And of course, let us know what you need so that we can come back and try to solve them and work with you. Thank you so much. And I will hand this over now back to Janina.
Thank you so much, Marcy, Sandra, and Arlene, for that very informative discussion, and also for taking the time to share and discuss the importance of expert advisory and portfolio management. Thank you also to our audience. I hope you were able to gain insights and key takeaways from today's webinar. If you have any further questions or would like to learn more about Atram Wealth, please do visit our website, wealth.atram.com.ph. We would also like to invite you to join Atram's official Viber community group, #AtramPH Community, to stay updated on the latest announcements, advisories, and reminders. Scan the QR code or visit this link found on your screen and get a chance to win an Atram merchandise. Lastly, please answer the survey at the end of this webinar. We would love to know your thoughts on today's topic. On behalf of everyone at Atram, thank you again for your attendance and participation. We wish you and your loved ones continued health and safety. Have a great day.